Why hello there, fellow launch controllers. Rodamon here. Thank you for tuning in to Stationeer's Brutal Vulcan. Episode 66, Blastoff in Search of Carbonated Ice. We have the kilomoles of volatiles to launch. So let's stop filtering the volatiles because we want to equalize them with the temperature of the oxygen, ideally at closer to about 20. And the reason why it's climbing is the carbon dioxide is getting filtered, and this is kind of warm. It's 85 Celsius, so it's pulling in from a hot source. I think what I want to do temporarily is to stop filtering the CO2, pressurize my propellant tank, and then flush the rest into the farm so that the oxygen and the carbon dioxide can hit temperature equilibrium so that it can make fuel. So the current priority is make rocket fuel and launch Dave to mine. Instead of David the diver, we have Dave the miner. Why is that not getting pressurized? Oh, because of... It is... Okay, whatever. Alright, that's enough propellant. It's fine. Alright, let's flush the rest into the farm. And then start to do our launch sequence. And we still have 4 liters of water in the farm, so it's not urgent that we do anything about that. And as far as all of the plants are... I mean, the new wheat I just planted is thriving, so obviously there's no problems in here. Alright, I think that's all the carbon dioxide that I have available to me. You know, the other thing I realized is our base has a lot of carbon dioxide. I could have just, like, removed the airlock here to keep the farm alive. I have no idea why I didn't think of that. Because there's pressurized carbon dioxide in the whole rest of the base. I mean, it would be really hard to reverse, but that would have been a solution. So yeah, now it's 33% CO2 at 70 kPa, so it's pretty good. So what we're looking at now is for these 2 pipe networks. They're at 25 C. That's probably fine. It'd be better if it would be a little bit colder, because colder gases are more dense. But I don't necessarily have the patience to wait for the coolant line to cool down. This is the coolant line. The waste dump line is pretty hot. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix the fuel now. I'm going to create a save just in case. So mixing, mining, fuel. I hope not to have to save scum, but, you know. So we got some... It's kind of warm, actually. Before we start mixing the mining fuel, I'm going to turn off the water generation. I think the water generating... Did my filter die or something? Yeah, okay. That explains a lot. I was wondering what was going on there. I'm going to make a heavy water filter, so I don't need to worry about that anymore. Is that... we do have 18 extra liters of water. It's not like I didn't make water, but I could have made more, I think. Because the way the water filter is set up is if it dies, the filter dies, we just dump water. That's why there was water in our intake. Because the filter died, and the water we were generating was just getting dumped to Vulcan, which is why the intake vent, the mega vent that pulled in air, pulled in some water from somewhere. I was wondering where that came from, but it came from our dead filter. So I wasted water, but like, you know, hopefully not too much. But in any case, I'm turning that off now. So, we are ready to make fuel. And what we're looking at is, I had about 12 kilomoles of volatiles in this tank, and we want to bring this down to like 0.5 kilomoles. That's how I'll know I have the fuel available. So once this is at like 500 moles of volatiles left, I'll turn it off. Although it might have reached pressure equilibrium, meaning that it can't mix anymore. I'm thinking. I'll go outside and I'm wearing my suit, right? Yeah. I'll go outside and see how much there is actually available. And whether or not I have to add volume to the fuel lines or not. Maybe it's fine. Essentially, I want to make sure that there's enough fuel to launch a rocket and then come back down to Vulcan. Because there's no point in mining anything if it can't land. All the effort, none of the rewards. So in the plumbing of the fuel line, we've got about a kilomole of oxygen. And then in the fuel tank itself, we got, oh yeah, there's enough. There's more than 6 total. So yeah, we have enough fuel. We're good. All right, let's start pressurizing the fuel tanks of the rocket. So this turns on. Umbilicals are connected. I'll leave the doors open just because, like, it's not a requirement, but, like, you know, you wouldn't be able to pump fuel through closed doors. And, I did just save, but I'm going to save one more time. Pump fuel. So we want this to reach, I don't know, 40 MPa or so. Like, pretty pressurized. Ideally, I would have some sort of readout that I could, like a console to set up to read that pressure of this tank. Because the pressure in the umbilical line doesn't really matter. It's the pressure in this specific tank that matters, because that's our rocket fuel. And it's not insulated, which sucks, so it's like also heating up, which is stupid. All the more reason to do this at night, I guess. I guess you could make a rocket silo. No, it's not insulated because I can see it's convecting. So we're almost at 6. That's about all the fuel available. We are gonna suck this dry. Just about. Yep. So what are we at now? Yeah, about 6. Perfect. Shut it off. Retract umbilicals. Close the door. Pull the rest of the gas back into the line so it's not in the umbilicals, which it is not now. I can flick these off. There's nothing in that network. Alright, we are set to launch. Sweet! Let's go launch Dave the Miner and do some mining. That's been filling in. Lines are definitely thicker. Before we launch, down to a third power. Okay. Alright, so Dave, you are heading to Vulcan orbit first. As you can see, if I tried to land without like a high burn, it would fail. You can ignore this. This doesn't matter right now. So, yeah, let's go. Bye, Dave. Goodbye now. And Dave is up. Heading to Vulcan orbit, and then over to the sparse vapors cloud. So, current priority, start mining ice water with Dave. So here, we have fuel time for about 500 seconds. ETA to Vulcan orbit is about 100 seconds. Its thruster-weight ratio is going to be continually changing based upon the fact that we're burning fuel. So right now it's a 1.49 thruster-weight ratio. The better your thruster-weight ratio when you're trying to land increases your odds for a successful landing. So as you can see, our thruster-weight rate, our amount of thrust available is low, but that will change as we burn more fuel. So it's not a threat yet. Like, this should work. I don't know, we'll see. And where ETA is about 60 seconds to Vulcan orbit. And here's our other map. I have no idea how to find our base with this map, though. But it's cool to have a map. And you can kind of see the different spheres of deep ore. Now it's more of a map and less of, like, splotches of paint like a Pollock. 30 seconds until arrived. And the confidence for landing should go up as we burn fuel. So we've already burnt about a little over a sixth of our fuel getting out of orbit. Obviously the big burns is escape velocity out of orbit and then land. Those are the two times you burn the most fuel by far. Okay, we're in Vulcan orbit. Then Dave, you are gonna go to the sparse vapors next and transfer burn. And this is a 40-second transfer burn over to sparse vapors. And one thing to notice is the landing confidence is actually going up because Dave is getting lighter. It's easier to land a lighter rocket. And the water we're mining up is like not super heavy, so it's not gonna like, I mean, you'll see with time. I don't know why I mean, it's cool to stand here. Unfortunately, I'm like thirsty, so, but that's fine. We'll start scanning in a second.
Hunger, caution.
I know, I'm aware. Okay, so we're at sparse vapors. Now at sparse vapors, we can flip on the rocket scanner discover. And what this is going to do is it's going to chart actual clouds of mineable frozen ices. Either water vapor, which is carbon dioxide and water, or oxygenated vapor, which is carbon dioxide and oxygen, and we're here for water. And what ends up happening as we chart it, as we map this thing, is we will be finding the actual vapor clouds to exploit for resources. We just need to do some charting first. And this is why you need a scanner on even your mining. And basically, we're going to keep doing discovery, and I think you can discover up to 9 nodes per location. And there's other locations, obviously, out here. But 9 per location. And there's a lot of actual resources in per node. So it's not like we're going to run out quick. There's a lot of stuff up in space in Stationeers. High volumes. So in this pass, we should discover at least 1 cloud. And if it's a water vapor cloud, we can move to it and start charting it, surveying it, rather. So the first cloud we found is an oxygen vapor cloud, not a water vapor cloud. So I'm going to let it keep doing discovery until we find water vapor. But in the meantime, I'm going to go eat fries and drink water. And the purpose of the miner rockets is high volume resource acquisition. It gets you a lot of stuff fast. And unlike deep mining, which can be done in Vulcan, there's like water up in space and oxygen up in space and stuff like that, because you're not going to be able to deep mine for water or oxygen. So there's precious resources, as far as we're concerned, up there. Because water and oxygen are just not available on Vulcan. Like 0.00001% of Vulcan is water or oxygen, and all of it is right here in our base, right? Like, you can think of it that way. Alright, now that the rocket launch was done, we can turn on the CO2 filter again, and turn on the vol filter again, because I don't care about the temperature of the gases. And the outflow vent is off. Good. So we should be building up a supply of carbon dioxide and volatiles again, which indeed we are. All right. Our second cloud is a water vapor cloud, so I'm going to set it as a destination. I'm going to idle the rocket, so we're not using the scanner, and turn off the scanner. And then pump gas engine over to the water vapor cloud, which will be there in 30 seconds. (26, 27). Okay. Okay, we're at the water vapor cloud. So now that we're at the water vapor cloud, we survey, not discover. And to do that, I need to turn on the rocket scanner again. And we're going to start surveying the water vapor cloud. And at 10% survey, we get the composition of water vapor. At 30%, we get the size of the water vapor cloud. At 60%, we get the density. At 100%, we get the richness. And then we get mining boost from there on. I usually only go for a 200% mining boost. So this water vapor cloud is 50% water, 50% carbon dioxide. That's fine. Because the sparse vapors, you know, that was basically the only thing that could happen, right? Is a 50-50 composition. So that's no surprise. We kind of already knew that. Its size is 2.32. Its density is 2.62. We'll need 2 more scans for richness, and then 12 12 more scans for mining boost. I like to get the mining boost. The 1000% mining boost is not necessary for first mining because, like, we're not up there long enough, getting enough stuff to really benefit from that longer survey mining boost. Because at some point you need to worry about your batteries more than your, your mining boost. So richness is 1.15. These numbers, I'm not really sure. I mean, it's just like, how easy is it going to be to get the resources you're after, essentially. So we're at almost 140, and at 200% we get the mining boost, and then we just start mining it. Simple as that. And from here, we'll be able to see the cargo small starting to fill up with quantity to know when it's full. All right, so we need one more. This is the last scan for the mining boost, 200%. Can you keep scanning while you mine? I think it's one or the other, right? These are radio buttons. You can't do both. So, no. All right, so now we have the mining boost. We start mining. And for that, we need to turn on the rocket miner. And I'll turn off the rocket scanner. And we are now mining the ice. And you'll see the density go down a little bit as we mine. Or the richness. And then I'm going to turn on the cargo storage. And what ends up happening is the rocket miner will then mine up a stack. So right now the rocket miner is at 41 ore. It mines up a stack and shoves that stack into the cargo storage. So it will stack up to actually 100, I think. So it's at 67. And I can star things if I want to keep track of it. But I know my overlay covers up if I do that. So 79% or 79 stack. 91. And we're about to see the first stack of stuff gets shoved into the storage. And the storage has 50 slots. So it's a lot of... Yeah, there we go. So rocket miner is back down to quantity 3. And the cargo storage has 1 stack of ice. And you just fill your rocket up until the node is depleted. And bring it back down to Vulcan. Now, the next phase of this, which I will start working on, even though I'm just about out of time, would be to probably get an ice crusher. So we want an ice crusher to be able to, like, turn that ice into gases. So copper, gold, iron. And I know I'm almost out of iron. And then a whole bunch of chutes that lead to that ice crusher. And then you can also do a, what is it called? The chutes lead to a silo. So you could get a silo kit, which is like a mega storage, which allows you to put all of the stuff. I don't need one ice crusher. A silo, which it would be auto lathe, allows you to move all the ices, because essentially you don't want the ices, the carbon dioxide and water ice, to touch Vulcan air, because it will just melt away and disappear. Are chutes insulated? So the regular chutes, as you can see, there's no insulated chutes. The regular chutes are insulated unless you have windows. Ices won't melt in a window, right? Whereas regular chutes, ices don't melt. So as long as it's like Schrodinger's ores. As long as you're not looking at it, it won't melt. You know? So it's like observing an electron or something. I don't know. Something like that. So, here's what we'll do. We are going to have the chute umbilical connect to a silo on near the landing pad. So I'll set up a copper and gold silo. And the silos are, if I'm not mistaken, insulated. I don't believe they leak anything. The Majestic silo holds large quantities of almost anything. It cannot be deconstructed if it does. Any food that you put in sucks, but it can hold up to 600 stacks. And it doesn't say, but yeah, I believe the silo is insulated. So we'll get a silo. And the silo kit needs what to build? Nothing. Stationeer's magic, exactly. So we're going to want to put a silo near the landing pad connected by chutes. And I'm like completely out of iron for that. So let's go muster up some iron, I guess. I don't need a whole lot. Just, oh, my mining belt I put away. JK, going back inside. At least I noticed now. I could have been denser and not have noticed a while. So essentially what you want is the umbilicals already connect. And the umbilical on the tower needs to connect to somewhere to store the ores, which then connects to somewhere to process the ores. And in my case, I'm going to want to process my ores in a vacuum or something like that so that it doesn't possibly melt. Because ices are fussy, and as soon as they're in an atmosphere that allows them to melt, they melt. So that is what we would need to solve. So the idea is then to feed that to probably the centrifuge room, and to have the centrifuge room do the ice melting, so that there isn't a possibility of the carbon dioxide in the water going anywhere. And then the next part of the equation is then how do you filter that stuff? Because currently I don't have a way to filter water that is good, because I don't really filter water. I condense water through like H2 combustion. I do technically filter it, but I filter it assuming it's steam. So I don't really have a water filter that doesn't assume it's steam, which is which would be something I would have to solve. But the advantage of having all this water is you can split water into oxygen and hydrogen, right? H2O, which allows us to then make rocket fuel very, very, very easily. And of course, the ice is frozen, so it's cold rocket fuel, the good kind, because hot rocket fuel is less dense at the same volume. That's probably enough iron. No, filters will filter anything. The water filter, the filtration units intake are gas, but like if there's liquid in it, it still works. It's just if there's too much liquid in it, the pipes might rupture, which is why you would need to deal with like pressurant and things like that. But that's a totally different matter. So I'll go a little bit over time, but I'm not going to be able to do much more than that. So here's what the silo looks like. And it has power and data to figure out what is in it. And it has import and export. So let's wait on... So the ice crusher I probably will set up somewhere in this room, because this room is vacuumed and without windows. So it's safe for ice to exist on the floor in this room. I guess I put cobalt through the arc furnace. Or Oh, no, I snipped the power briefly. I remember because I was moving the mega vent, and it screwed up the the flow. So that's on me. But yeah, what you would do in this case, which I might not get to, is build this ice crusher to crush the ice and to separate crush the ice and just to collect all of what comes out in like liquid and gas tanks, and then to filter it from there. And it would be creating... The ice crusher has a heater element to it. So you can tell the ice crusher to crush ice and bring it up to, like, let's say 2 degrees Fahrenheit or something like that, so that it does not... it doesn't immediately freeze or whatever. Yeah, this is all my outgassed cobalt that I didn't mean to have pop out. My bad. And now I have to wait for that to spool up. Boo. So ice crusher needs iron, sheet, and cable coils. I'm glad I have this iron. So even though I'm not going to be able to finish the system, it's relatively straightforward. You treat the ice as an unknown mix of stuff, and then you filter it. So you've got your ice crusher import. So we would have a chute system that imports here. You can set the temperature that you want it to output at in Kelvin. So we would want, let's say, 5 Celsius or 4 Celsius, 3 Celsius to Kelvin. So 276 Kelvin, let's say, or 270, yeah, 276 Kelvin. So it crushes the ice and heats it up to 276, which means it would be liquid water coming out of the liquid output. And then, but you wouldn't want to, I mean, there isn't a lot of other liquids, but you wouldn't want to necessarily assume that. So you would want a tank for liquid coming out and gas coming out, and then you would subsequently filter those gases and liquids into their constituent parts, assuming that they aren't, you know, because you don't want to assume that it's going to be something specific. So filter your inputs, right? But that's how it works. So I'm gonna build the silo and some chutes so that we can just accept the rocket at the very least. So I have the silo on me, so let's get a whole bunch of basic chutes, which is what all that iron was for. Alright, farm CO2 needs to be dealt with. We have 1.6 kilomoles, but it's not too hot. Wow! That's a lot of available. Alright, I'm going to turn on the outflow vent of the farm and then set up the chutes. Is there any use for cobalt? Yeah, cobalt's used for a lot of things. One important one would be medicine. Like to heal my lungs or whatever. But there's other uses for cobalt. Cobalt is an alloy for required for a lot of the super alloys as well, or an element for the super alloys, I should say. Okay, silo time. And the silo is just a way for you to dump the contents of your rocket cargo so that you can refuel the rocket and send it back up or do whatever, you know. You don't necessarily need a silo. It's just a nice to have, because your cargo will have 50 stacks of stuff, and unless you want 50 stacks like sitting in a in your chutes, potentially ready to be like messed with, it's better to have it, you know, in your in a silo or something like that. So that's what people use silos for typically. I didn't bring anything with me. Good job, me. I don't have my steel sheets. How many do I need? 15 sheets, 10 plastic, 5 cable coils. Help me. I thought I had steel. Oh yeah, here's 2 sheets. I got a lot of iron, didn't I? The other part is I needed probably... Actually, power should be pretty easy to hook up to it, so never mind. Because the silo is, like, essentially a conveyor as well, so it does need power. I wonder when I'll make, like, a bridge over here. This is not exactly convenient every time I want to come over. Oh, okay, I'm dead. Or not. That was weird. I hit J, I must have misclicked, and didn't hit my jetpack in time or something. Well, the plastic sheets I had are gone. That's good. Let's just duct tape like that never happened. Oh, no, it's not even any duct tape. I just went in for a bit of a drink. Let's go get, my plastic sheets again? After going for a lava bath? I'm sterile now. So that's good. Jesus. As I said, I wonder when I'll make a bridge. Obviously, it was not very safe. But, only my arc welder got screwed up there. And my suit. Everything else kind of was fine. Be glad the suit tank didn't rupture? Yeah, no kidding. Could have been worse. My propellant tank didn't even get hot. Which is good. Because, yeah, it was internal, I suppose. So, if you're ever wondering, hey, what happens when you fall in the lava? Now you know. It's not good. It's not healthy. I was surprised my jetpack even let me out of there. I mean, realistically, lava is dense. You wouldn't, like, fall into it. You would stand on it. But, you know, whatever. Cable coils, screwdriver. Done. I think, yeah, yep, I put the power right there for convenience. Right, the density of lava is basically the same as, like, whatever rock got liquefied. It's not... It's... If you want to call it a liquid, it is a viscous liquid. You could stand on it and dance on it if it didn't melt you. Alright, the chutes. So we want no windows. That's the important bit. No, actually, let's do this more elegantly. There. And then we actually need to hook up power to the umbilical, the chute umbilical itself. Good. Done. So now we at the very least can receive stuff. I don't really need data on this because I you know, it has a handle. That's fine. So now we can receive stuff and stick it in the silo for processing. Up to 600 counts of stuff. Sweet. Let's go chicken on a rocket, and that's probably where we're going to leave off. Whether we're going to finish the mining mission and convert the ices into filtered whatever is going to be up to my Patreon patrons to vote on. Not up to me. But I'll probably want another hard suit. That kept me alive. If I was in a not hard suit, I probably would have died. And then we're probably also going to want another arc welder and battery too, because those two things went pretty melted. I look like Anakin now. Alright, Dave Miner. Rocket Miner is what? Still mining. It has 20, it's about a little over a quarter filled. So it's got 14 stacks, 15 stacks of ice in it. Which isn't, I mean, obviously we're going to keep going, but that's not terrible. And then if we did a high kilometer landing burn, it would land with moderate confidence. If I had more fuel, we could even do a higher burn, but like I don't know how much fuel I have left. That is really to be determined. So obviously the mining is still in process, and we've mined up 1,500 ores so far out of the 9,000 available, as you can see. And that, friends, is where I'm going to leave off. Thank you for tuning in to Stationeers Brutal Vulcan, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rodamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rodamont.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Stationeers.